Welcome to Improv for the Podcast. On this week's episode, we're joined by Anna McCowan, who will tell us all about her improvisational journey. We'll play a game, and most importantly, learn how she improv'd her life. Let's hit it. Welcome to Improv for the Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Lee Evans, and tonight I am joined by the wonderfully talented sketch comedian, improviser, physicist, Anna McCowan. Oh my goodness. Anna, thank you so much for coming on tonight. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing great after that very generous introduction. Thank you.
I only spoke true things.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, Anna, for those at home who might not know, what's your relationship to this old place here, old IFTP?
IFTP, as some may call it.
Well said.
So I joined IFTP when I was living in LA temporarily for like a 5-week period last summer or last spring. I was just looking for an improv studio, and because y'all offer the like month-to-month thing, it worked out. And then I wasn't living here at the time, but then I finally moved here permanently in March. And like first thing I did when we moved here was go back to IFTP.
Yeah, well, we're glad you're back. Also, welcome to LA. I mean, you've been here before, so it's not necessarily new. But
I didn't move very far either. It was from Orange County.
Oh, okay. So huge move.
Yeah,
I'm telling you.
big time.
45 minutes in the car.
Yeah.
Gosh, that sounds awful. I'm glad you
We survived.
made it through it. Yeah, all right. Well, we're going to talk about your experience at IFTP a little more in just a few moments. But before we do, Anna, we got to play some three things. All right. So as you know on this show, we play three things, but it's personal. I did some digging as always, my Google sleuthing skills, and we dug up some things. So you're going to share with us a little bit about you based off these categories. So you've played three things before. Sure you're ready to go? All right, here we go. These are three things. Cat names.
Betty.
1.
Susie.
2.
Pee-pee.
3. Next category. Items from your wedding registry.
Ooh, let me think back. Sorry, I just realized that's funny. That's what comes up when you Google me. That's so funny.
Yeah.
Okay. Silverware.
1.
Dishes.
2.
Bedding.
3. Very nice.
Real exciting stuff.
Hey, it's all on there. I can verify. Last category. Physics vocabulary.
Proton.
1.
Quasar.
2.
Bazinga.
3. These are three things. A little asterisk on the last one, but we'll talk.
Big Bang Theory.
All right. So going back to that first category, pee-pee, why'd I ask you about cat names?
I'm guessing because I have a lot of pictures of my cat.
Yes.
On Instagram.
Yes. Yeah. And I would also say what correlates on your wedding registry, you had a pet vacuum as well that I saw. I was like, oh, this is a cat owner for sure. So we got to talk about that. All right. What is your cat's name? Is it Pee-pee?
No, I think that would be a great name for my next cat.
Yeah,
so I actually
that's true.
lost my cat a couple years ago.
Oh, no. I'm sorry to hear that.
It's okay. My cat's name was Kitty.
Kitty.
Because we could not figure out a name. We had a few different names. We called her Taco Cat for a little while because it's the same spelled forward and backward.
It's a palindrome. Yeah.
Hot dog, cookie, a lot of food related names.
Yeah.
And then we ended up just like kept referring to her as Kitty, and then it just stuck.
It just stuck. I mean, you named her what she was. She was a kitty.
She was a kitty.
Yeah. So it's like nobody can criticize that. It's like that. She was a kitty.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's sweet. And I'm sorry to hear about the loss of your cat. I know I'm a few years late, but losing a pet, it just kind of sucks. So,
It does. Yeah. But since moving to LA, Spencer, my husband, and I were, we've just been more and more just like, it's time for another cat. We want to get 2 this time.
Oh, yeah.
And be friends.
Get a little duo.
Yeah.
Man, that sounds like fun. I have 2 dogs currently, and it's they're a little posse. It's fun.
What are their names?
Kuma and Claire. Yeah, so they're a little. Yeah, oh man, they're menaces, but we love them.
That's the other thing I love after food names for pets is people names.
Yeah. This is my cat Jeffrey. You're like, oh, yeah, that's true. It's more fun than like, oh, this is my dog. I can't even think of an example name. Just Gary. Oh, great. Okay, so maybe your next cat's Pee-Pee and Priscilla.
Yes, perfect.
Pee-Pee and Priscilla. There you go. All right, second category. I asked you to list items on your wedding registry, which you did well. I mean, I could have gone more specific on the dishes there, but I think, generally those were pretty good answers.
Thank you.
I saw silverware. I saw a pet vacuum. Yeah, there was bedding on there. I saw some pillows, things like that. And some dishes as well. Yeah, pretty cool. There was like a lemon, you put like the lemon in it and you squeeze it. I don't remember what those are called.
A lemon squeezer.
Yep, that makes sense. Yeah, I was like, oh, nice. I don't have one of those, so I think I need to invest. So it gave me something to think about. But is it weird thinking about that wedding or that website is still up there?
Yeah, like I was a little distracted. Like, oh shit, can I say bad words?
Yeah.
Like, oh shit, I should really take that down.
That made me think. I was like, oh, probably my own wedding website is up, but I don't know. Yeah, I gotta look into that because it's this weird thing where like before your wedding, right? Like the registry, it's like popping. You're like, yeah, people are looking at this. Hopefully they're buying stuff, and then the wedding happens and it just goes
like
dead.
You completely forget.
Yeah,
and it's still up there.
Yeah, because it's like the Knot or like whatever, all those websites. Yeah. So I gotta go dust that off. Like I have the logins. I should just kind of see.
If only people would who stumbled upon it would still buy stuff
that'd be
from
great.
the registry.
Yeah, imagine you get an email like someone purchased, like, oh my gosh, the blender. Yeah. That'd be so cool, and it just shows up one day on your doorstep, but like years later, oh man, if I were a rich person. Like, if I were like a millionaire, that'd be fun to like just find random registries and be like, well, I hope these two are still married, and then buy stuff on there and send it. That'd be such a cool thing to do.
That is.
So if you're at home listening and you're rich, if you go to theknot.com / D and Michael, please.
This podcast is brought to you by theknot.com.
Theknot.com. It's the place where I had my wedding website because it's the only one I know of. Okay, there's an idea. So once either of us gets rich, I think we should start doing that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right, that's a good plan. All right, last category, Anna. Why'd I ask you about physics?
That is what I studied in college.
Woo! So you have a physics major, right?
Yep.
Wow, that's pretty cool. I never took a single physics class, neither in high school nor college. I don't know. Yeah, I did like, chemistry, physiology, all that stuff. Did like pre-calc, but just kind of was like, physics and I never crossed paths.
Yeah, you missed out on all the math.
So I feel like it would have been a cool class. And like that's at least in high school, it's like that's the go to Six Flags class or like go to roller coaster.
Yeah.
And I had a friend who went, I don't know, poor choices were made.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now,
shame on you.
Shame on me. Being a physics major, did you go to Six Flags in college? Did they make you do that? Or like another theme park?
No, what the hell? We did in high school.
Okay, good.
We went to Knott's Berry Farm.
Oh, valid. They got the accelerator, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, college, no, they just made us like do like homework and take tests.
That sounds dumb. Well, you need that real life practical application in the field, something. Maybe a county fair even. Well, that's disappointing. So maybe least recommended college majors, physics?
Or just recommendation, any physics professors out there, take your students to a roller coaster.
Yeah. If you want a good rating on Rate My Professor, go roller coasters. Okay. All right. Well, that's really cool, studying physics. I can imagine at a college level, I bet that gets really interesting with the labs and different things that you probably get to do.
Yeah.
Besides no field trips, but...
Yeah, it's really fun in the beginning, and then there's always with science majors, there's that point 2 years in where they try to filter out people
with
the really hard classes, like the quantum mechanics, and then those are the ones I kind of skated by. Yeah. But yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, there's that moment you're like, okay, I finished up my gen eds these first couple of years, and oh no, and then it's 300 level, 400 level, and it gets scary.
Yeah, and it was weird at my school too because the physics department was very small, and so my just our class in the physics department at the school was like 10 people.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Yes. So it was like a little cohort. So were you with like those same 10 people like throughout your whole time? That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's kind of fun because you're all suffering together.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's that. I think that's a good college experience. I had a similar like cohort situation in college as well. So, you know, you'll always be able to like talk to those people and be like, oh yeah, remember, junior year, or, you know, whatever. Yeah, it's special. Bonding through misery.
Yeah, I really want to just apologize for the bazinga.
No, I don't
know why that came to my brain, but it did.
Because it's great spacing.
It was great spacing.
Yeah. Big Bang Theory, that was one of those shows, like, growing up, I didn't see a lot of TV shows just for different household rules and things like that. And that was one of the first shows I was like, what is this? And I watched like 5 seasons of it. And I was like, okay, now I've seen a TV show. And like, besides like SpongeBob or like kid shows, you know? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw, there's like 12 seasons, I think.
I have no idea. That's kind of why I'm like, I'm sorry I said that. I don't even really watch
But they're in Pasadena. That's not far away. They have a street called Big Bang Theory Way.
Is that true?
It is true. Oh. Yeah, it's by the, if you know where Doghouse in Pasadena is, it's a very specific geographical reference, but that's where it is. Yeah, it's like Big Bang Theory Way. Wow. Just one little sign. I'm not that big of a fan. I watched it when I was younger, not 5 seasons, and then I dropped it. So again,
I apologize because I said bazinga.
You should. I think it was just funny. That's a show. It makes me think a lot. Well, it got a full spin-off with young Sheldon. It's just like the staying power. Impressive.
It's true.
Impressive. 12 seasons, then a spin-off show that had, I don't even know how many seasons. And not a lot of shows can sustain like that. Mm-hmm. So shout out whoever kept it alive. I'm not sure who. But so tonight we're actually going to pivot to just talking about Big Bang Theory. Everything you know, everything I know, and just the Big Bang discussion.
Yes.
Yeah, not the event that happened a long time ago, just the TV show.
That allegedly happened.
Yeah, it's physics. Who can be sure?
Who knows?
None of us were there. We got to talk about some improv, Anna. We got to talk about, you mentioned if to put earlier, but we're going to take it back even earlier because I want to learn about the first time in your life you were exposed to improv. You heard about it. Maybe it was written on a Post-it note. You read the word. Take us back to whenever that was.
Wow. Why have I never thought of this before? I guess other than Whose Line.
Yeah.
That's kind of like I watched that as a kid.
Mm-hmm. Same.
And then forgot about it.
Yeah.
And then, what it reintroduced me to improv was Comedy Bang Bang.
Ah,
ever watch or listen to
that?
that?
Oh yeah, Scott Aukerman.
Yeah. So my brother introduced me to the show and the podcast, and I just went.
Yeah.
I found my thing. I was like, I love this. It's my favorite thing.
Yeah.
Showed us all my friends. Yeah.
Yeah. That podcast, there's probably like 1,000 episodes plus.
I think he's coming up on episode 1,000.
Jeez. Yeah. Man, that's impressive. This is episode 81. So we're almost caught up. Almost
so
caught up. Yeah. If I just got to sustain for like 10 more years, then I can touch 1,000. That's amazing. So you started listening to Comedy Bang Bang. Growing up, were you like a performer at all? Were you in the arts? Or were you just focused on physics? Bazinga.
Oh my God. That's going to be my thing now. Oh my God.
Yep.
I was not a performer. I wish I was. I think I had a lot of anxiety growing up, a lot of social anxiety. I think there is part of me that would have really enjoyed being a theater kid.
Yeah.
But just I was too shy.
Yeah.
Couldn't do it. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, and as a kid too, I don't know, having to do all that is scary. Like there's those class performances sometimes in school you have, presentations, or you just have to read in front of the class. There's a lot of stuff. I think kids early on, they either get pushed into being in front of people or they get scared out of it at a young age. And then it's not the kid's fault, it's tough out there.
It is.
Yeah. So growing up, not really your thing. You were math, physics, I don't know, all that good stuff. You were doing school stuff. Yeah. But then Comedy Bang Bang, you kind of got introduced.
Yeah.
You got hooked. You were like, wow, all these wacky characters come in, sit on a couch every week, all these celebrities that you know. Mm-hmm. And were you always interested in comedy, or were there big comedy influences that you had growing up?
Yeah, I've always loved comedy. humor is very important to my family. My mom has a great sense of humor and a great laugh. I always love when she comes to the shows because I can hear her in the audience. I'm like, there she is.
It's like, it's great to have someone like that in the audience because it's good for everyone else around her.
My husband does too. With the last sketch show, oh my gosh, I was just cracking up backstage because I could hear both of them. Like very specific laughs.
Yeah. That's fun. You can pick it out too.
Yeah. And my brother's very funny too. He's very dry, sarcastic kind of humor. And my dad's very goofy. He's like telling dad jokes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And so I don't know. Yeah. Growing up, like being like silly and funny was very much just like the norm.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what you did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Did you have like any specific movies or TV shows growing up? You're like, oh, that's funny. Like young Anna was like, oh, I'm a big School of Rock fan. I don't know. That's an example.
I love School of Rock.
Yeah, me too. It's one of my favorite movies.
Black is hilarious.
That's should have been an Oscar win for that film.
Right?
I'll go to my grave believing that.
Agreed.
Yeah.
What comes to mind is Hot Rod.
Oh, yeah. Cool beans.
Cool beans. I remember watching that and like I remember all of my friends were kind of like, that was stupid. But
Yeah.
That was so funny. Yeah. Like it was just stupid funny. And I think that was one of the first movies I watched where I'm like, that's my sense of humor. Like, that's stupid, hilarious kind of humor. I love Andy Samberg.
Yeah, Andy Samberg. Yeah, he's just so good. Like Pop Star. This is a more recent one. That's like 8 years old though. Man, he needs to make more movies.
Yeah.
What is he up to?
Did you watch Palm Springs?
I need to see that one. It's on my mental list because I know. Yeah, that was like 2 years ago that came out. I think it's on Hulu. I need to check that one out because I've heard nothing but good things. Yeah. I gotta support Andy. Yeah. Okay. I'll work on that. Come
on, man.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, Andy Samberg definitely. Were you watching like his SNL stuff too, like the digital shorts and?
Yes.
Yeah. Because like early mid 2000s into early 2010s. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Just like, and they'd put that on YouTube, and then it was like, this is comedy. Yeah. Hot Rod, I'd say as well. There were kids who just didn't get it.
Yeah.
It's a real shame.
Yeah.
They missed out. Yeah. It's such a good movie. I kind of want to see it again. I haven't. It's been a long time.
There was a period of time where it was like me and my roommate, we watched it every year.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, it's time.
That's a good tradition. Yeah. You're like, oh, you feel that? Cold winds blowing. It's Hot Rod time. That's good to have traditions like that. Now that you mention it, roommates.
I think
it's about that time of year. Yeah, it's hitting the 50s at night now. So you know what? You might have to dust off the old Hot Rod DVD.
Find a DVD player.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Find the DVD player. Find the DVD for Hot Rod. Hopefully it works, and then go from there. Yeah. Oh man, so it's a great movie to have as an influence. Okay, so you get a little older, you start listening to Comedy Bang Bang. So what made you want to take the leap from like, I'm listening to Comedy Bang Bang to actually doing improv? It's a big jump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I remember when I was first signing up for like my first improv class, kind of being like, oh, haha. What if I took an improv class?
That'd be crazy.
Could you imagine? What if I did that? And then it just like, the more I said that, the more like real of an option it became.
Yeah.
And, moving down here from, I was living in Sonoma County for 10 years. Then I moved back down here and wanted to make new friends and meet new people, and I thought that like taking an improv class would be a good way to do that.
Yeah.
And I love to laugh, and I love to meet other people who love to laugh. So, yeah.
And you just started. So was IFTP your first improv class? Oh my gosh. Okay, so you were in LA, you're like doing a 5-week thing, and you found here. How did you find it? That's what I always love to know.
I remember that night. Sat on my couch, opened my laptop, typed in improv class Los Angeles into Google. I'll never forget.
Perfect. Yeah.
No, yeah, it was like we were living. So I'll explain. My husband was in grad school to be a PA, a physician assistant.
Okay. Yeah.
And in the last year of PA school, they do rotations to different hospitals in the area.
Yeah.
So for 5 weeks at a time. And we were living with my parents at the time, which was fantastic. Yeah. And so we weren't paying rent. And so we were like, hey, well, he had a rotation at the Culver City Hospital.
Okay.
And that would have been a pain in the ass to commute. So we're like, hey, let's pretend like we live in LA for 5 weeks. And we lived in an Airbnb.
Oh, that's fun.
And pretended like we lived here.
Yeah.
And so that was why we were like living here temporarily. And so I was looking for something, like I looked for improv classes, and a lot of them were like, yes, take Improv 101. It starts on this day, and 8 weeks later, it ends on this day.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, like I'm just here for these 5 weeks. I'm looking for something like, I don't know.
What can I do in that amount of time?
Yeah. And so it was just kind of like fate, if you will, that like IFTP offered that kind of flexibility of, do you want to just sign up for a month? Great.
Yeah.
Come on in. And I like emailed Matt like, hey, I've never done this. Can I do this? And of course he was like, yes.
Yeah, come on in.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. Because I think it is kind of insane. Like still, I mean, I haven't looked in, I'd say the past year, but like to my knowledge, there's not really any other place that does like a 1 month long class still, which I was like, there's got to be demand for that because 8 week commitment is pretty serious. Like I know, I'll leave it unnamed, but there's one school that I've attended and taken classes at where it was like 8 weeks, twice a week. And it was like 3.5 hour classes. I was like, this is insane.
Yeah.
Like 3.5 hours. I'm getting out of class at like 10 p.m. And then, I'm getting home by like 11. But then I got to go to work in the morning. Like crazy.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, I remember I took Ben's class on Saturdays, his intro, or like that's like good place to start.
Yeah.
At IHP. This is good for podcasts, right? Finger quotes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But yeah, it was like a good place to start. So I took Ben's class and I liked it so much. I signed up for another month and commuted from Orange County for the last couple of weeks.
Wow. Yeah. That's quite the drive.
Yeah. And then 2 months later, or a few months later, Spencer had another rotation at the Culver City Hospital. So we went back and I remember it was like, again, I'm not really this like, it was fate type of person, but like this was one of those moments I was like, oh my gosh. The sketch class from last summer, I got the email that said, we're doing a sketch class and it's from this day to this day. And it was like the exact number of weeks that we were living here. And I was just like, yes, this is what I want to do.
They got everything.
So that's how amazing. I signed up for the sketch class last summer.
All right. Now, I'm going to pause here for a second. So I have to ask, prior to taking that sketch class, had you done any comedy writing before?
No.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's insane. That's insane to me. Because I think about the 2 sketches you've done for the sketch class. You did Shit Canoe for your first one, and then you did Orca the second time around. So Shit Canoe was your first time writing a sketch?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Anna, you got it.
You're making me feel so good.
Oh, my gosh. Okay. Between that and Orca, which is like, just, like a year later, just 2 phenomenal pieces. Like, I would have guessed you'd been doing it for a while. Like, you were a veteran at
that. Means so much to hear you say that.
Because you just come in with a strong premise. You know how to hit it. It's funny. It's clean. It doesn't need editing. It's just ready to go. And you did that 2 times in a row. And like, I think Orca was even like another level of that.
I'm like speechless. I don't know what to say. That's so nice of you.
So that makes me angry because it's just like, oh my gosh, that's what a gift. But 2, I'm also just like, that's like awesome. Like, please keep writing because, gosh, yeah, you're really, really good sketch writer.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and it's just,
I love doing it. And so I'm so glad you do the class. Like,
it's one of my favorite things.
Every time I see that sketch class open, I'm going to register.
Yeah. It's, it's a labor of love for everybody because it's like we got to work hard, but it's always rewarding that night where just put it on stage and get it out there. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay, so you took that sketch class, so that was a pretty big leap. You had been doing improv, and then you were just all right.
I know. That's why I asked Matt. I'm like, am I allowed to do this? 'Cause I really want to. And he was just like, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even you had a month of improv experience. That's pretty good. Like, we'll take that. I would not have known you. So you only had a month of improv at that time, but like you acted in multiple sketches. You were great. You were like the therapist in one sketch. You were the patron at the restaurant in the Italian restaurant one. Oh my gosh.
That was like one of the highlights.
Yeah, that one was
life.
A lot of fun.
Like, that was so fun.
Getting baptized in the wine and that was a great show both times. Oh man. Wow. Okay. So I like that attitude. Like you were just like, boom, I've done improv. Oh shoot, they got sketch and I happen to be in town for a month. I'll do it. Never done it before. But it seems like you've always been like a fan of sketch comedy or like, you know, I mean, Comedy Bang Bang, which by extension, you know, there's a lot of improv people in that, SNL people, you know, just a lot of comedy world. Right? And I know we've had a few conversations like I think you should leave fan.
Yes.
Which I consider like, that's not a mainstream sketch show to me. I think it's pretty popular, but like, you know, most folks are like, yeah, I know SNL and like, that's it. Maybe Key and Peele. But like, I think you should leave it. I'm like, that's for the purists, you know?
Yeah,
the people who are like, yeah.
I know when people say they like it, I'm like, I see you.
Yeah, because I can't, like, not all my friends are like, oh yeah, I watched that show. Like, they haven't even heard of it. Yeah. And I'm like, you don't know. You don't understand. Or they've seen the hot dog meme, you know, that's like, we're all trying to find the guy who did this. Yeah, so I know, so you have good taste. Yeah, you know, good sketch.
Thank you for noticing.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's that's a niche one, I'd say. I mean, it's a Netflix sketch show. It's fairly popular, but still.
No, yeah, and it's definitely like it's out there.
Yeah.
Like I'll recommend it to people, but there's some people in my life that, you know, I love it, but I wouldn't recommend it to them because I just know you probably won't like it.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know why I just thought of this, but yeah, I think it's the third season. The sketch where, what is it? He's like sitting at home and that like pig monster thing crawls through the doggy door.
God, yes.
And then it just starts. He's like, I don't have to go to work tomorrow. What did they do to us?
That's so fucked up.
It gets, really existential, which is so true.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like something bad happened, so you don't have to go to work. And he's relieved that he doesn't have to go to work.
Because you were eaten?
Yeah.
You were eaten by a pig monster?
Yeah. And it's like, why are we conditioned this way? Which is a really like deep question when you think about it.
I know. It's so funny. Like, the show is so like, it sounds really silly to call it deep.
Oh, yeah.
But like some of the sketches, it's like, that's like a philosophical thing that I deal with.
100%. Or like the one with the baby where he's like, I used to be a piece of shit.
Totally.
That one is too. Because it's like, that to me is like the idea of like, do we deserve second chances?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And like sometimes yes, sometimes no. You know, I think depending on the whole thing, but he asked that question in such a ridiculous way of like, oh yeah, I used to be a piece of shit.
I said I was.
Slick back hair, sloppy steaks, Trumani's or whatever.
And then, it's like, okay, take this premise, which is like, okay, this is a real premise that I'm like struggling with and thinking about. And then like, how do we just add all the stupidity in the world? Like the sloppy steaks. Like, like what even, how did he think of that?
Let's
like pouring
up,
water on steak?
Yeah.
What is that?
It's absurd.
I love it.
Like that's something that I feel like happened as an accident at a restaurant. Someone reached, they knocked over their glass of water, it spilled on their ribeye.
I'm like, oh, sloppy steak.
And he was like, oh, I'm going to write that down.
Thing. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know. It's just, I appreciate it for that, asking those questions, but exploring them in the silliest ways possible. Yeah. So good. So, you know, real sketch,
Thanks. Represent.
But, yeah. So, okay. So this is like a great little like bookends that you had. So you had 5 weeks, you did improv for the first time, then you kind of finished it off, still commuting from Orange County, which is, that's no joke.
The traffic on the 405.
Oof, yikes. So doing that, and then you were able to come back to the sketch class. So you wrapped those up, and then I'm assuming you either went back to Orange County or you were in another part of California. Okay. Yep. And then it was like, was that tough? Like you had done these classes here and then you had to leave for a little while?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think I've found a very special place with IFTP.
Yeah. And
even so, then when we were done with this first sketch class, I moved back to Orange County. I looked at some places, and I'm nothing to hate on Orange County. I'm sure the improv places there are fine, but it was just like it won't be the same. Yeah.
Yeah, it can be tough. Yeah, switching that community, like especially like here, like not to toot our own horn, but it's good here. It's good here. Yeah. It really is. I think I've been here over 3 years now. Jeez, it's gone by quick. It's just there's so many phenomenal people. So kind of taking back to your first month here at IFTP, you said you were in Benjamin's class, right? Mm-hmm. That Saturday morning, 10 a.m., which is a fun place to start. What was your experience like in those first couple classes? If you remember, like, was it what you expected? Were you totally caught off guard? You're like, oh, this is what it's like?
Yeah. I remember the first class, I was so like fucking scared.
Yeah.
I didn't know what I was doing. Yeah. I was just like, what are you thinking? Why are you doing this? This is terrifying. And I left. I'm like, I'm not going back. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, that was so scary. I hated that. Why did I do this? And then the week went by. It was the next Saturday. I was like, okay, and I'll go.
Yeah.
I'll try again. And then I noticed like a huge difference even just between the first and second class because I knew at least what to expect.
Yeah.
And I recognized some of the people from the week before.
Yeah, that's good.
And so I was like, okay, that was a little bit better. And then the third week was even better. And then what I've noticed with improv is just like keep doing it and keep practicing.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I forget what your question was. But
Well, yeah, just kind of that experience of the first month. I mean, you like the hardest part is showing up, right? And you did that once. So you're like, I did it once. I'll do it a second time. And like, I think after that first class is the moment where people make that decision, right? Yeah. Hey, am I going to stick with this or am I done? Am I out? And I think you made that choice. Even if you were like, I'm dreading this, you still came back. And by the end of the month, sounds like you were kind of hooked or you were like, oh, yeah, I want to come back here.
Yeah. I just noticed the benefits of just, I don't know, putting myself out of my comfort zone, even though I was scared and stressed. And it was funny. There was a girl who's kind of new in our class this week who, how like after you do a scene, Matt will be like, oh, how was that for you? How was that for you? Yeah. And she mentioned like, I am so stressed out. You guys keep saying like, oh, that was fun, but I'm so stressed out. And I just so empathize with that. I'm like, it like when you first start, this isn't like, I mean, for some people, maybe it is fun, but when you first start, like it's scary.
It's
like, I don't know you people. I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And so I like so empathize with that. But then it was just like, the more I kept going, the more I'm like, oh, this is fun. And then the more you get to know the people and like like the fear kind of starts to fade away.
Yeah. It dissolves a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think too, even just, by the fourth class, you're like, well, you've gone up enough to feel a lot more comfortable on stage.
Yeah.
And like, you're still going to make mistakes, of course, but it's gotten easier at that point.
And what I love about improv is like, you're supposed to make mistakes. Like that's something that like I struggle with a lot is being like a perfectionist and wanting to make sure like I look good and I sound good and and I have like a really anxious brain. And improv has been really freeing for me because it's an environment where it's like, oh no, like what if I look stupid? Oh, you're supposed to. You're supposed to look stupid.
That's what it's about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. That's really cool. So you finish that first month, then you come back for sketch class, which is like a whole other, I mean, you were just down. You were just down for whatever. You came back for sketch class. Now, what was your experience in that class like? Now knowing like this was your first time doing something like that before. Because you just started improv and now you're like, all right, this other aspect of comedy, I'm going to do it.
I just fell in love. I don't know. It was, it sounds so corny, but I was just like, this is like so cool.
Yeah.
It was so fun learning from you, like how sketch can come from improv.
Yeah.
And how sketch can come from just everyday life and people you meet and situations. And I just started like thinking, there's a phrase that we still use in my house today, which is that a sketch? Which we'll just like say, and I remember it was just like after the first day of sketch class where you're like, the homework was, go in a public place and look for something silly or a person that's like a character or something like that. And ever since then, I've just been like, is that a sketch? Is that a sketch? Yeah.
You get the brain for it, and then it's hard to turn that off.
It's really hard to turn it off.
My wife and I do a similar thing. We'll be like talking about something, and then we'll like make a joke and be like, "Oh, wait a second, hey, that could be a little video or something." It's just kind of like it's crazy how many ideas come up in everyday life where you just see something or you say something, and it's like there's so many things you can just reach out, grab, and be like, "Oh, we could turn this into something right now." Yeah, it's crazy. So it's like I love starting the class that way because I think that's the hardest part. People are like, well, I can't come up with anything funny. And it's like, that's not true. Especially like if you've done improv before, like get out of here. You're pulling from nothing when you do that.
Absolutely.
And it always turns out being funny,
Yeah. And since taking the class, like I am a strong believer in that, like you can make any situation funny. Like some of the people who will come into class and be like, I don't know, I have an idea. And the idea is like a person with a funny accent. That's all it is. And like how with that we're like, okay, great. Let's let's see it. Let's try it out.
Yeah.
And even though it's just like that's like the smallest idea, it can really just grow into
Yeah.
something hilarious.
Yeah, you just got to play with it.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, accents can be crazy, especially if it's like a made up accent too. Like it's not based on anything. That's the most interesting kind. Because then it's like, what is this accent? And then already that's funny.
Or if it like constantly changes.
Yeah.
I always love that.
Where did you say you were from? And then it's, oh, yes, I'm from Minnesota, my favorite state. Like, okay. Yeah. That right there. See, there's so much potential. A lot of what I base that class off of, or like kind of like what I like to pull from, is when I was in college, I had a sketch class I was able to take as part of my major. And I did it 2 years because I loved it so much. But it was like a sketch show, but semester long, which was insane because, that's like a semester was like 18 weeks or something like that. So it was just like week after week after week. So we had a lot more time to polish sets and props and everything like that.
You mean it wasn't 5 weeks long?
No, it was like 18. So I love taking some of what we did in that class and condensing it and making it my own a little bit. But it's just something I was like, man, I think everybody should have an experience like this, because one, it's like, it feels so good to come out of a stressful experience having accomplished something like that, to put on a show that's your own. Like, that's what a cool thing to be able to say, is like, yeah, I came in, I wrote something, I performed it.
Yeah. And what I really like about sketch is the collaboration.
Yeah.
Because I know there's like a lot of other forms of comedy. Like I know there's like the stand up for the people.
Yeah.
But what I love about sketch is just like the feeling of collaborating with people and just like being like, oh, what if we add this? What if we add this? Because there's so many different ideas from other people. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. We get to sit, and then it's like, all right, we finished the sketch. Like, what do we think? What do we got? And people are just like, oh, you should sneeze here, or, whatever.
That's my favorite part of sketch class.
Yeah. It's that's like that week 2, kind of week 3 where we can still kind of mold it and play with it a little bit.
Yeah.
I wish we could have more time, but it's just the IFTP format. Move.
I don't know it any other way. So it's great.
Which is good too, being able to work under pressure like that. It kind of gets the ideas to come out faster.
Yeah.
Creativity comes from constraint, I think.
Yeah.
So it definitely, 5 weeks, that's constraints.
Yeah.
All right. So I want to bring it back to improv. So you had that first experience, let's say 2023. So now it's 2024, March. You're back in LA. You're coming back to IFTP. I kind of want to talk about what's your journey been like since coming back? Maybe who have you had as your teachers? Things like that. Yeah.
So I moved back in March. Immediately looked at IFTP to join. I really wanted to do a class with Matt because I had heard such great things. And so I started doing the Monday nights with Matt.
Yeah, Mondays with Matt. Okay. Yeah. And has that been kind of your consistent class for a few months now?
Yes. I did a couple months with Ava, which were also really good. They really pushed me and challenged me to again, get out of my comfort zone. And then I switched back to Matt this month because I kind of missed my peeps.
Yeah. You kind of form that group, and it's hard to switch. Yeah, when I was in classes, I only ever did Wednesday night. I've never tried it. Well, I did one Saturday morning makeup class, but then that's it. I've always been a Wednesday night guy.
It's interesting, how important it is to know the people.
Yeah.
I think that it's such an important part of improv is trusting your scene partner. And it was just kind of hard when going from, okay, this is these people who I've been working with for, so distracted.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Yeah.
These people who I've been working with for a few months now, and then trying to do something with strangers. It's just challenging.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, because you're like, oh wait, I don't know how you work yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not that you can't do improv with strangers, but when you know someone, it gets easier.
Yes.
It does. Yeah. If you have that relationship off the stage, you can build any kind of relationship on stage.
Yes.
Yeah. Which I think, is key. And kind of what's fun about a month-to-month model is that people will remain in that same class, but also new faces will show up. So you get a mix of both.
Totally.
So it's
there's always a different
fresh
flow.
meat. Yeah. Yeah, which is always very interesting.
Yeah. And how you can see the new people.
Yeah.
And how I can tell how much I've learned because then
you see where they're starting out.
Yeah. I'm I was like that too.
Yeah. So how do you think you've grown as an improviser? in your time here? I mean, it's already, that was March. Now it's October. It's almost November. That's more than 6 months. That's 7 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, I was talking to someone the other day about how like you learn so much so quickly.
Yeah.
And I think, let's see, what have I learned as an improviser?
Yeah, just everything you've ever learned as an improviser. Go. Yeah.
I think I'm learning to trust people more. Like how we're talking about like, oh, I don't know this person. I don't know if they're like, what I love about like with IFTP and I'm guessing improv in general is like you have that person's back.
Yeah.
Like Matt was saying the other day we had a scene where there was like a thing and then he was like, just say what's in the thing. So specific.
Yeah.
But they're like, no matter what you say, it's going to be right.
Yeah.
Because your scene partner has your back and they're going to agree with you. And I think that's like
justify.
So beautiful. There's something beautiful about that.
Yeah.
And then also just like being okay with looking stupid more and more. I'm finding myself like okay with being the first person to stand up or to like volunteer to like start and do and act outside of who I am. Like act silly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. I think there's definitely a shift a lot of folks go through. It's like, I'm not going to stand up first. I'm going to wait. I'm going to be one of the last ones to do the exercise. And then time passes and you're like, boom, up, volunteer.
Yeah.
Like you're sitting in the front row. You're eager to go.
Yeah. Well, what I figured out too is if you wait, then you're just sitting there nervous for your turn when you have to wait.
Yeah.
So I'm like, just get it over with.
And then you're like, oh, that one was good. I don't want to go after that.
Yeah,
but it's like, if you go earlier, then you get it out of the way and then you can enjoy everyone else's more too. Yeah, that's always usually my approach. I'll be like, all right, I want to be in like the first 3 maybe. And then sometimes I'll be like, all right, I need to be less eager. I'll wait. I'll wait. Then you do one. Where you hold back. Yeah. Just a little bit. Just because you're like, I'll give someone
I guess so.
Even though everyone goes. So you're never robbing anyone of a chance to go.
That's true.
Yeah. But it's fun how you find yourself changing in that. Yeah. I think I was a similar way when I started here. I was like, I got to get the feel of this place. Okay, all right. I'll start standing up in the front row, doing that whole thing. That's really cool. So, yeah, you just noticed kind of that eagerness and already you're a risk taker. You started doing improv. That's a risk taking. You showed up and did sketch. That's a risk taker. So now you're finding yourself doing that in your classes as well, being the first to go. And, stepping out. Stepping out is a scary thing to do. It takes it's the scariest thing in improv is that first step out, right? That first step up. Yeah. All right. So thinking about classes, here's a random one. What's maybe an exercise that you're like, oh, this is I'm a ringer for this exercise. And then maybe an exercise where you want to see yourself grow a little more. Yeah. Exercise or a game or.
I always like doing the limerick challenge.
Oh yeah.
One that I've noticed it makes me kind of nervous is the one, I forget what it's called, where you're in 2 chairs across the room. It's like mind the gap or something, where you're supposed to like just have a conversation, but like you're on, I don't know, on the other side of the room. I don't know why that one is challenging.
Oh yeah, it's like you have to stay there in those chairs, right? So it's about the conversation. Yeah, you're not getting up and.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe it's just the idea of like you feel like you're trapped.
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's a metaphor.
Okay, yeah, I don't know that I've done that one in a while. My memory's a little rusty on it. Yikes. All right. Well, you're kind of doing that right now.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, see, there you go. And you're doing great.
Yeah.
So
get out of my
overcome,
comfort zone.
conquered.
Yeah.
There you go. You're doing the long form version.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I've always had exercises now and then, sometimes you start off, you're like, oh, I hate this exercise, but then you have to keep doing it. And then it's like the relationship changes over time. I guess that's true with a lot of things though. Yeah. How do you feel about clap-ins?
I'm a little less scared now. I went to camp over the weekend.
Oh man.
And that
That's
was
amazing.
it was really fun.
Yeah.
That was like, what's it called? The therapy, like immersion therapy.
Oh, like immersion therapy. Yeah.
For
like
clap-ins for me.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. It's like every session you're doing clap-ins at some point.
And yeah, I mean, I still like when I hear like, oh, we're going to do clap-ins, I'm like, oh, okay. But I notice in myself that I've I'm overcoming that fear as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And camp is a great way to do that. I was really bummed I couldn't make it this year. I had a wedding I was at, but man, I missed it because I know it was in a new location. So like, what was there like a big takeaway you had as a performer from camp? You're like, okay, after camp, I learned this, or I got better at this, or I want to this.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing was about Jamie was focused on doing one line at a time and living, which at first I was like, oh, that's easy.
Yeah.
That's what you do, one line at a time. That's how you have a conversation. But then noticing how we subconsciously will try to fill the silence and over explain and like without the restriction, I've noticed in scenes where people would just nervously keep talking to kind of fill the space. Yeah. And their scene partners just kind of like, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And then,
and so I think that was like a huge takeaway, was just like taking it slow, taking it one line at a time, and being conscious that silence isn't necessarily a bad thing. Like actually using the silence as part of the scene.
Yeah.
That was like a huge takeaway from me.
It can be very funny or very dramatic, like depending on how it's used. I think it's like, I always think about like the phrase like word economy or economy of language or whatever. It's like when I was a middle school teacher, that was a big thing in like lesson planning, is be like, so when you are lecturing, you know, especially middle school, you don't want to lecture too long, right? Because they're middle schoolers, like they're going to get antsy. Like it's about doing, not just listening to me talking. So it's like, I think that's so true in improv as well. Like less is more, right? Sometimes your words are funnier and more effective, and you can still get your point across or justify or yes and without having to give like a whole paragraph every time you speak.
Yeah, and I think sometimes we try to over-explain because we're trying to help out the scene part. Like, oh, I got you this thing, and I got it because it's your birthday, and you love these, and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, all you have to do is say, hey, I got you this thing. Trust that your scene partner is going to fill in the blanks.
Yeah. They'll have your back, you have their back.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just weird and unnatural.
Yeah.
People are like, oh my gosh, that's this person's problem. Unless that's your character, then that's a whole other thing. Like you're the over-explainer. Got it. Enough said.
Yeah. And then there could be a very funny scene with the next person who's actually just like, yep, great. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. It's just, See, that's how you do it. I think this is a really cool exercise though. And it's always good to slow down every now and then and just do a scene. Because when you listen more, you're more intentional. Even though you're not really thinking about it beforehand, you're still more intentional when you do an exercise like that with what you say and how you respond, which is, it's so good. I love camp for that chance to like get in the nitty gritty of everything.
Yeah, definitely.
It's 3 days improv, too. It's just improv up the wazoo. Yeah. All right. Side tangent, but did you participate in the anti-improv talent show?
No,
Anna.
I was a very encouraging audience member.
Okay, well that's good too.
That's good too. There were some talented people in this theater.
Yeah, it's always a lot of fun watching that. One of my favorite things. The Saturday night classic, amazing. Yeah. I'm trying to live vicariously. So.
Yeah, I don't like. It's not. I know I have talents. I'm not like I don't have any talents, but like I don't know if I have talents that are like show
talent. Yeah. So I want someone some year to be like, all right, I'm really good with Excel, and then just like show up with like a projector, and they're like, bam, 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 bam. It's like, wow. And they do like a 5-minute demo.
Yeah.
They'd be like, all right, here's how you quickly create a pivot table, and then they like, and use X lookup formulas. Blah, blah, blah.
Totally. Or like, I'm very good at puzzles.
Oh,
like,
that'd be a skill.
Me do a jigsaw puzzle.
You're like, I'm going to set this timer, and here we go, 1,000 pieces. Let's knock this out real quick.
Super good.
See, I'm not good at puzzles. That would be an anti-improv, anti-talent show.
Anti-talent.
Yeah.
That would be fun. Just do it just everyone doing things that they're very good at.
The anti-talent show. That's another idea. They're just like, watch me not finish this puzzle. Whew, it's tough. And then you just go sit down. Like, that's it.
I quit.
Ooh, a lot of pieces. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like do you ever watch Auntie Donna?
Yeah.
They have a sketch.
That's another one that's like, a little out there. Yeah.
It's the world's worst tic-tac-toe players.
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
It's very funny. Shout out to Auntie Donna.
I like their Netflix show as well. Mm-hmm. So did they ever make a second season of that?
I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Because I remember I was like, oh, first season, awesome. And then, I don't know. I don't know if it ever got a second one. Yeah. Those Australians, we can't keep up. Can't keep up.
No, they live in the future.
Yeah, they really do. They really did, literally.
My brother lives in Australia, so I always tell him.
Yeah.
Or I'll like text him, hey, how's tomorrow? Ha ha ha. He loves it. It's hilarious every time.
New Year, I'm sure. That's always a great one to be like, wow, how's 2025?
He's like, great. Never heard that one before.
It's like every time you text him. That's awesome. Okay. So thinking about your, let's call it your improv career thus far, your comedy career thus far. Mm-hmm. You've done sketch class a couple times. You've written some excellent sketches. You've been doing improv classes here at IFTP for you're coming up on a year, I'd say, like cumulatively, right? You got about 8-9 months under your belt right now. Yeah, so kind of look into the future. What are some goals or like hopes or comedy objectives that you're thinking about or looking forward to?
I want to write more sketches.
I like that answer.
I want to continue to do improv. I think that it like is so valuable to me as a human being to like have this practice. But like in terms of like goals, I want to do another sketch show. Yeah. That was like both sketch shows have been just like the time of my life.
No, I'm happy to hear that. I mean, as the teacher, I'm happy to hear that.
I know, just like kissing the teacher's ass. I just realized it totally seems
No. I know. It's like, no, I'm not the teacher. I'm the podcast host version of Michael. Yes. So that guy, he's at home right now. Yeah. But that's really cool to hear because I think you should keep writing sketches because I think you have a real knack for it.
Well, thank you. I have a notes app in my phone that is very long.
Yeah. You got to have one of those notes apps. I have one of those too. I just keep it in my back pocket. It's like, all right, that was absurd. Yeah, we got to write that down.
That's a sketch.
Yeah, the world is full of sketches. All you got to do is reach out and grab them. Okay, so you want to write some more sketches, do some performances, do some more improv, of course. Have you ever thought about, you're like, oh, I'm going to branch out. I'm going to start making like short form video content, or are you going to do stand up? Just throwing it out there.
I have thought about it. Yeah, I won't lie. I think I'm more of a behind the scenes person. Like, I've thought about like, oh, I could just make this idea into a thing and put it on like the internet. Yeah. But I have way too much like shame to put my face on the internet. But like, I would love to like write for someone who does want to put their face out there. I think I really enjoy the like idea and brainstorming and writing aspect of it.
Yeah, because it's fun for that creative process of like, taking that premise, expanding it, punching it because you're like, man, we're going to get the most out of this, which is always really cool. Okay. I could see that though. I could see that, like comedy director, comedy writer, director, producer.
Yeah, all those things.
Yeah, let's throw that title at you.
Absolutely.
Let's say upcoming rising star, comedy producer, writer, director.
You heard it here first, folks.
Anna McCowan. There it is. You heard it here first, folks. Watch out. Keep the eyes on the television, internet, Netflix original series. Who knows? All right, Anna. I got one more question for you, and then we're gonna do a little improv before we close out tonight.
All right.
So, thinking back to, whether it's Comedy Bang Bang, whether it's Whose Line Is It Anyway, which is classic, amazing, phenomenal. A lot of folks who've come on here, that's kind of where they got their first like early improv intro without even realizing it. But what do you think has been the impact of improv on your life? It could be personally, professionally, in any area.
Just one?
Or all of them.
There are so many.
All of them. Let's put it out there.
There are so many. I'll pick one so I don't take too much time. I think the biggest thing is being okay with failure, being okay with looking stupid. Yeah. I'm a very anxious person. Yeah. I have been taught, like just by society to like, care a lot about how I look and how I act and how I appear to people. And so I think a lot of that has like made me a very anxious person with an anxious brain. And I can't even tell you like the freedom I feel with being able to like actually try to look stupid, to try to fail and be okay with that. And in fact, like maybe that's a good thing. Yeah. Yeah. That's how it's changed my life.
Yeah, absolutely. We're just conditioned. It's like you have to think about perception all the time. It feels like how am I being perceived? Does this look good? Am I talking right? Am I saying the right things? Am I,
recently I've been doing this like thought experiment of just kind of trying to notice how many times in my life I stop myself from doing something because I'm thinking, oh, well, what will people think? And not like doing anything about it, just kind of like clocking, like, oh, there's that thought again. Like,
Yeah.
oh, what will people think? What will people think? And yeah, improv has helped a lot with that because it's like the answer to what will people think is who cares?
Yeah. Who cares?
Yeah.
I think we should put that out there as a challenge for the audience this week. Honestly, a little thought experiment out of Anna's book here. Yeah, just take a moment if you're ever thinking about what will people think when you go to do something this next week. Who cares? Who cares?
Who cares?
Who cares? Tie your shoe. You know what? Do it.
Do it. You'll trip if you don't.
Yes, and that's what will people think. Who cares? Right? Well, actually, if you get hurt, that's not good.
Yeah,
and then,
come on. Be safe, people.
Yeah, that could be rough. Or like if you're walking into a meeting and you trip and you're leading the meeting, that could be bad too.
Yeah.
But who cares?
Could be hilarious.
Maybe care a little. No. Could be hilarious too, which could be a great way to break the tension in a meeting. You know what? Use it. Because who cares? You'll find a way to justify it. There you go. But I like that. Yeah. Who cares? And I think I can definitely relate to like that conditioning, right? That a lot of us have from just society and the world. Not even anyone's fault in particular. It's just kind of how the world is.
Yeah.
It's like, all right. Well, Anna, you ready to do a little improv?
Sure.
All right. So we're going to play a game that is, well, kind of made up, but it's inspired by that guest information sheet I had you fill out. So I asked you about books, movies, TV shows that you care about that are influential. And one that stood out to me that is also a favorite of mine is a good old Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh, hell yeah.
I was going to say trilogy, which, trilogy. Like I watched the trilogy growing up, and then there were 2 other movies that also came out.
Oh, we don't talk about that.
Yeah, which I saw the 4th one, never saw the 5th one. No comment.
Jack Sparrow's not in it, right?
I think he is in the 5th one.
Okay, well, never mind. We still don't talk
It's like Blackbeard. I think Will Turner and Elizabeth Swann show up too. It's like a whole thing.
Oh,
I've only read about it though. I've never actually seen it, so I can't.
Anyway, that first movie.
Oh,
perfect.
My gosh. Classic. Black Pearl. Come on. Yeah, and the ride at Disneyland is also great. Rules that smells good.
Yes.
And if you disagree, you're wrong. I won't yes hand you. You're just I'll no but you. Love that first movie.
Okay, I'm so curious what improv game.
So the game we're gonna play is a pirate duel. Yarg.
Yarg.
So you and I, Anna, we're gonna be playing 2 pirates that are dueling, but not with swords. I will be dealing with our pirate words. So we'll be this is an improvised game called Pirate Duel, where Anna and I will both be playing pirates. 2 opposing pirates dueling one another with seaworthy insults.
Okay.
So you and me, we're just going to go back and forth, coming up with some pirate, ocean, sea-related insults back and forth.
Okay.
Yeah. We're just,
like it.
It's a verbal duel, a verbal spar.
Arr.
And we're just going to keep going until it black is out. And that's just kind of, and there's no bad answer here. There's no bad response. Yeah. And again, this is a very loose kind of made up game, so it's definitely gonna work.
Did you make it up?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love it. Okay.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I was thinking about pirates, and I was like, what do pirates do? Well, they fight each other. And I was like, well, we don't have swords. And, swords are great for an audio podcast, man. We're just like, ting, 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 ting. Like,
we can do that.
Engaging, really engaging. So, I don't know. We'll just kind of take it from there.
Okay.
All right. So I'll say lights up, and then I'll just black us out when we're done. All right. Lights up. Well, if it isn't my seaworthy rival, Captain Double Peg Leg. Yarg.
Yarg, good to be me, Double Peg Leg.
Aye.
And you salty Jones.
I be Salty Jones, never pepper. So, the Double Peg Leg, I smelled ya coming from a mile away. Ya dirty landlubber, you.
Your pirate voice is so good.
Aye, of course it is. I'm a pirate.
Arr. Well, your salty breath smells like liverwurst.
Aye, of course it be smelling like liverwurst. I be eating nothing but liver and onions on the high seas. But ye double peg leg... I don't even know. It'd be a real shame if your ship caught on fire, because your legs would too. I'd like to see that.
Arr, I run faster than ye with my double peg legs. But your face is stupid, arg.
Aye, that be hurting my feelings. You know I'm self-conscious about me looks, Captain Double Peg Leg. But I tell you this. Watch out for the beaver I set loose on your ship. It might be chomping at your legs in your sleep. The next time you wake up, you might only have one peg leg.
Arg, I'll have to change my name then. To single peg leg.
Oh, that'd be a shame. And you know what else, Captain Double Peg Leg? You're the worst sword fighter I ever did see, because you use a letter opener as your main weapon, and that means you know how to read, and that's lame.
Arg. With my letter opener, I can cut you to bits.
I doubt it. I'd never get close enough for you to reach.
Arg, you've forgotten about my double peg legs and how fast they make me.
Aye, that be true. It's like you're on stilts. You've got quite the reach there. Wait, why am I giving you credit?
That's right. I've tricked you into being my friend.
Aye, Captain Double Peg Leg, I got a question for ye.
Ye.
What be the masthead on your ship?
Of course, it be Pee-Pee the cat. Flying high.
Aye, that's what I thought. A cowardly animal for a cowardly captain. A cat afraid of water, just like you.
Our cats are the bravest animals. How dare you speak badly of cats?
I don't be believing that. That's why, like I said before, you're the captain who spends the least amount of time on the sea. And that's a shame. You're a land pirate.
Yes, that is right. That's why I never sail my ship. We are just beached.
Aye, how can ye be robbing and stealing and plundering when you're in the same port town your entire life?
Well, there's lots of tourists in this town. So, it changes it up.
You got your schemes going.
Yeah.
Aye, well, I just don't think you can be an effective pirate when you spend your time in one local area. That's no business model.
That be your opinion, matey. Your wrong opinion. Stupid face.
What? I told you I'm self-conscious about me face. Just because I have to wear this patch over my cheek that's got a large hole in it. Cannonball right through the left cheek.
Best day of my life.
You did get me there. We went to battle one time, and well, your land tactics are far superior. I'll give you credit there. But you know what, Captain Double Peg Leg? I gotta pick a bone with you, because I once saw you try to use a telescope and you looked through the wrong end.
Who says there's a wrong end?
Me and everyone else who uses a telescope. The British Royal Navy.
You lie.
You call me a liar. You insult my honor.
Yes. If you turn it around, you can see, cool shapes, and it looks kind of cool and trippy.
Well, I never thought to try that before. Give me your telescope.
Space work is great for podcasts.
Perhaps I twist it here. Oh! My goodness, Captain Double Peg Leg, that's beautiful. You've opened my eyes to something amazing. Thank you, Captain.
Can we be friends now, matey?
You know what? Perhaps it's time I learn to listen to the opinions and perspectives of others instead of just killing them at first chance.
You might learn something, old salty beard.
Aye, that I may. Blackout! Enemies to friends is the greatest trope, Anna, and we hit it on the head right there. We hit it on the head. Amazing, 10 out of 10, no notes. It's just fun to be a pirate every now and then.
You have a very good pirate
Why,
voice.
thank you. I think your pirate voice was excellent as well.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It was just me speaking very low.
That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about, being a pirate. Yeah, I mean, I think secretly, if there were two things I could play, if I were ever to like be an actor in a show, I'd want to be like a medieval peasant or a pirate. One of those two things, and it'd be one of the most fun roles. I think.
grew up on Buccaneer Street. And
whoa, really?
Yeah, and my dad's always been very into pirates. And on Halloween, he turns the garage of our house into a haunted house. People can walk through, and it's pirate themed.
Oh, that's cool. I was Captain Hook was a repeat costume I had as a child. He was my favorite Peter Pan character.
That's awesome.
Which is kind of horrible, but also
you like
cool.
the villain?
Yeah, I mean, he had a mustache. He wasn't good at, like, he got beat up by a crocodile, you know.
Yeah.
But Hook for a hand, just his aesthetic, cool hat, you know, just a lot. He had a lot going for him. He was a villain, but he had flair, and always failed. But that's okay. All right. Before we conclude tonight's episode, Anna, any last words you want to leave us with on life, on Bazinga, on improv, on sketch, anything at all?
Well, if I say no, that's kind of lame.
I mean, up to you. Your last word could be no.
My last words are be yourself.
Be yourself. I like that. Simple, straight, to the point.
Seems good.
And I think both pirates would agree that's good advice.
Yes, of course.
Aye. All right. Well, thank you so much to Anna McCowan for coming on this episode of Improv for the podcast. As always, we'll be back next time with another fantastic episode. Again, you can find us anywhere there's podcasts. We're there. Oh, we're there. But thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye. Improv for the podcast was created by Matt Moore and Michael Lee Evans. Edited and produced by Michael Lee Evans. And finally, presented by Improv for the People. Interested in more IFTP? You can visit us at improvforthepeople.com or on our socials, such as Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube. Remember, new episodes are released weekly. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next time.